Sweet Sue is a 1937 Warner Brothers cartoon. This is directed by Friz Freleng and written by George Manuell, with a voice cast including Mel Blanc, Billy Bletcher, Ted Pierce, and Shirley Reed. And I've been putting off this one for quite a while because I had a feeling it was going to be pretty awkward, and I have to say it really, really is. And there's not too much to say about the narrative because there doesn't really seem to be that much of a narrative. It's about a series of Native American characters, and I definitely think that this was just a vehicle for them to present different Native American characters in what they consider to be very comical ways. It is obviously not correct. It is, of course, racist. It is a product of its time, and in that regard, it's interesting to watch because it's interesting to see, of course, how Native Americans were depicted by Warner Brothers at the time, but it doesn't mean that it's an easy watch. And even with that aside, I just feel like there's a strong lack of narrative, and there's a lot of shooting and fighting, and it just doesn't seem to go anywhere, though, and it is just feeling like they wanted an excuse to animate a bunch of Native Americans, and this was their excuse to do that, and I just feel like it's really lacking in any real substance. Not that a quality narrative would overshadow these caricatures, because that's exactly what they feel like. But at the same time, at least it would be something that would work in the cartoon's favour, but that just isn't the case. The landscape animations are quite nice, the colour palette of the backdrops is quite pleasing, but obviously the depictions of the characters are not great. I didn't find any of it to be funny, I didn't think it was entertaining. The pacing is fine, by which I mean there's a lot of action, but it doesn't move forward. The characters are moving very quickly, we jump from one character to the next, so it bounces around a lot, but we never seem to go anywhere. So I didn't like it at all. There wasn't anything about this, actually that's not true. There was almost nothing about this that worked well. What I did like, because it's quite special, and it's unfortunate that this happened in this cartoon, but this is the inaugural use of the merry-go-round broke down. And I knew that going into this. I was aware that this was the first time that it appeared. This is, of course, the tune that appears with various Warner Brothers cartoons, and I knew it was in this one, and I was thinking, how is this going to fit in with this cartoon? It doesn't feel like it would fit naturally, but actually, it makes sense when you watch it. So it's special in that regard that this is the first time we get the merry-go-round broke down. It is unfortunate at the same time that it appeared first in this cartoon. So that was interesting. It's interesting from a historical perspective, but from an entertaining perspective, I can't really give it any credit. Sweet Sue is not a brilliant animation. It did just seem like they wanted a way to animate Native American characters, and this gave them an excuse to do so. And unfortunately, it just doesn't have a lot to offer.